Register anyway, yeah.
I did. We had a great time. We went up to New Jersey, over into New York, and we caught a cruise, and we went on a cruise.
I can say that on here.
And that was very Have you seen them with that rise of 20?
Just that you want to go. It's fine the way it is. So you got
That was actually pretty cool.
yeah, I'm not worried about
You
it.
spin both directions. One place you go, they spin both directions. And they
Yeah, you got it.
A little bit too.
best clam chowder I ever had. Clam chowder and ate some
Look at the camera. Alright.
Camera in my face. Oh. Perfect.
That's right. Next time I go that way, I'll have to drive the front.
You can see them. It's about the same. You're good to go. You got the two people watching it have got a face of you.
When you find something you like, though, you stick with it. So you gotta have that. Well, you know, that's what we do whenever we go anywhere.
It's time to call this meeting to order. This is the City of Callaway Board of Commissioners regular meeting. It is Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024, 6 p.m. If y'all will stand with me, Commissioner Pelletier will do the invocation. Commissioner Ayers, will you please read us the pledge?
Lord, we thank you for allowing this commission to gather this evening for the goodness of our community. Please guide us in making decisions for our beloved city of Callaway. We ask that you bless our citizens, employees, and first responders. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, please do a roll call. Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner Briggs?
Here.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Here.
Commissioner Ayers? Mayor Henderson? Here. Okay, do we have any additions and deletions to the agenda tonight?
Yes, we would like to add a contract extension. It's for our grant disaster recovery program with Gruss and Associates. This is a no-cost extension. We just needed to go ahead and get it executed, so we thought we'd put it in.
Do you have a motion to add this item?
Motion to add grant extension.
Second, item number 8.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that'll be item number 8. And just for a quick review for anybody that's not been here before, our public participation is actually in 2 parts. If you want to speak on a regular agenda item, you can speak on all of them if you want to, but once you're recognized, come up to the podium, state your name and address, and then your 3 minutes will start. If there's a non-agenda item that you want to discuss at the end of the meeting, we have public participation where you can get up and discuss whatever. Again, once you're recognized, come to the podium, state your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes for your item. Okay, we will go on to approval of the minutes. We've got the minutes of the October 8th regular meeting and the October 15th special meeting. Did anybody have any changes or questions about those minutes?
I did have a change on the first paragraph in the October 8th minutes. At the top, it says that we met in session on Tuesday, September 24th. It was obviously October 8th. That has been changed in the official minutes.
Anything else?
On the special meeting notes, October 15th, where I asked for cleanup boxes, I also asked them if they would clean up that parcel, and they've done that. So, just for the record, but we did ask them to do that.
So was there a change to the minutes?
Yes, ma'am, they just omitted that, if they could just add that at the very end.
You got that, Ashley?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, if there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to accept minutes as amended.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and I see the financial statements for September 30th are here, which completes the year, but I suspect there may be a few adjustments before we get our audited financials. So we look real good for the year, just the numbers look low. We're at, what, 65% of our revenues and 66% of our expenses, so I imagine there'll be a lot of adjustments. If y'all would have any questions, I'm sure Mr. Schultz would be glad to meet with you and cover those. Okay, we'll go on to our regular agenda. Item number 1, ordinance 1106, rezoning a property located at 5206 College Street.
Okay, this is the first reading of ordinance number 1106, an ordinance rezoning from residential R8 to residential R6, that certain parcel of land lying within the city of Callaway, Florida, containing approximately 0.32 acres located at 5206 Collins Street, parcel ID 24878000000, all as particularly described in the body of the ordinance, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing that this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon passage.
City Manager.
Mr. Pratt?
Good evening. This will allow Mr. Schwinn to split that lot. Currently, it would be required to be 8,000 square foot lots. But reducing it to R6 will allow 6,000 square foot lot. It will still meet the minimum setback requirements along with the 50-foot frontage along the street. And he plans on building 2 houses, affordable houses. They're for sale. Mr. Schwinn is here tonight also.
Okay. Does Mr. Schwinn want to say anything?
My name is Derek Schwinn. I reside at 5111 Hagen Drive. We're just trying to get it where we can get affordable housing in there. for us to be able to do that, we need to split it where it's affordable for us to build it.
Okay, that makes sense.
And, I mean, otherwise, it's, if you sit there, it won't be able to be built for a long while because it's getting where you either do that or they're able to afford to get people in, not generally.
Okay, did anybody have any questions for Mr. Schwinn? Question or comment? Okay, thank you, Mr. Schwinn.
Thank you.
Any discussion on this? Anybody have any?
No, I've been down there, I think that'll be a fit, you know, so, for the neighborhood.
Big improvement.
Or improve the neighborhood in that particular area.
Is there any neighbors here?
So I'm gonna call for public here in a second if y'all don't have anything else. Did anybody in the audience want to comment? Not seeing anybody.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept ordinance number 1106, rezoning of property located at 5206 Common Street, first reading.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, city clerk, please do a roll call.
Commissioner Davis?
No.
Commissioner Griggs?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mayor Henderson?
Yes. Okay, we go on to item number 2. Plat review, Harvey Heights, parcel ID 24506. City manager.
Mr. Fry.
The Harvey Heights subdivision will bring 18 brand-new houses, not mobile homes, to the area. It's a simple subdivision division using existing roads and existing sewer. They did actually, were required to add some of the water, an 8-inch water line, or I'm sorry, a 6-inch water line along Harvey Street. The line we had for them was inadequate. They put that in at their expense, the developer's expense. It was dedicated to the city, is now an asset of the city of Callaway. We can use it in the future across the street as needed. Mr. William Thompson, the engineer of record, is here tonight. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them for you.
Anybody have any questions?
My understanding, these are all single family, correct?
Yes, sir.
It's been a while since we talked about this, I just wanna make sure that they're gonna be single family, not.
Now, it was originally zoned for mobile homes, but the developer decided she wanted to do houses.
Right.
Good. That would be nice for this neighborhood too.
They will maintain the pond area.
Yes, sir. The pond will be owned by the HOA. The 22 homes, or the 18 homes there will have an HOA. In the event there's a problem with the pond, code enforcement will send a notice of violation to the HOA. And it will be through code enforcement procedures that the pond will get taken care of.
Okay, the drawing has an access to the pond.
And it will also be maintained by the HOA. I would imagine the adjacent property owners will just kind of cut that.
Where's
You know,
the HOA office gonna be maintained?
I'm sorry.
Site, HOA office.
The HOA will be an entity of the individuals who live there. There's not gonna be an office or anything, I would doubt very seriously.
Not that small of a lot.
Yeah, they're not that big.
And 99.9% of the time, you don't have an HOA on, it's the ownership that actually represents the HOA. Until the developer builds, is basically his development, but once it's sold and turned over, then the owners of that property or those, will have they can set up their own HOA.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Okay, did anybody in the audience want to comment on this item? Not seeing anybody, would someone like to make a motion?
Motion for plat review, Harvey Heights, parcel ID 24506 000 000. They accept that.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Mayor, I'd like to mention that William will be bringing by a Mylar of the plat for all of the commissioners and yourself to sign, so if you want to check with Ashley, she should have it within a day or so.
Okay, if you wanna just send an email and let us all know when you have it, we can stop in.
That intersection, now that this is approved, that intersection's gonna be a major hiccup, cause, anybody that moves in there, you ain't gonna get no semi in there, that little bitty intersection. And it's already disintegrating. This is one we talked about before, where it's all caved in, it's bad shape.
We'll move on to
Something up there for us.
item number 3, extension for development order, Tyndall Town Center Apartments.
This was tabled from the last meeting, and I'll just turn it over to Mr. Fry.
Yeah, and I'm gonna turn it over to our friend Jim Slanina. He's here representing the developer. He's the engineer of record for them.
Okay. Thanks, Bill. Good evening. Good evening. Mayor Pam, Commissioners, Ms. Ashley, City Manager. I listened to the video. Okay, so I understood that you really maybe didn't understand that while we weren't adversely affected directly, we are qualified. I'd like to just bring to light the Klotz Company who is running this. They have developed over 50,000 apartment units. They have over 400 active complexes, Georgia and Florida predominantly. When we have catastrophic events like this that's happened through the Panhandle and also through Central Florida, many other assets, both existing assets that need to be repaired and recovered from, they affect the ability for future development of new product. So I just wanted to share with you that there's more to it isn't a local guy that's building some apartments here. This is a company that has other responsibilities, and they're just asking your consideration to extend the governor's authority, the development order, so they have more time to catch up and build. And I'm glad to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
How long do they want to?
2 years. And I understand, I heard Kevin mentioned on the video,
Could be
up to 4, they're asking for 2 years on it.
Or there's multiple storms during that same window. So right now, it's
I
just.
shouldn't have asked this.
Yeah, it's 24 months.
2 years is what we're asking for, max.
2 years beyond the 2 years that you already had.
Right.
Yes, but
Right.
I can tell you from the engineer's perspective, the plans are done, we have all permits in hand, they have been pricing out the contractors the work. We have some bad soils, and we've taken some special activities. So there's been an active, ongoing effort here, and I'm sort of bummed that we're not building it as quick as I want to build it too.
Thanks for coming to talk to us.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I remember when we talked about this project a while back, it was gonna be a matter of months before we start, and it was gonna be done in January. Here we are, a year later, we haven't even broke grounding in, and my concern was, again, we have another project sitting there doing nothing, and we're a year in. Obviously, there's no intentions of starting the next year, since they're wanting a 2-year extension already, so.
They've owned the property for 6, 7 years, paying taxes. They want to develop it, they're developers, and the answer is, I can tell you from our perspective and the architect's perspective, the plans and all are done. If there's been a delay, it's been because we've set the drill rigs out there multiple times to look at other options to do foundations on it. But in either case, I would appreciate that consideration for the state of emergency extension.
Obviously, we don't have an issue according to that. We don't have a choice according to our attorney.
Right, and I think one of the questions came up is like, why did they wait until later on when they're getting closer to the 2025? Well, to take advantage of this statute, you have 90 days from the end of, so they basically have until December 30th. Or they missed that sort of free extension. So that may be why they didn't obviously.
I will pass on your recommendation for urgency, though, I will.
Do have one question.
There'll be more hurricanes.
I agree with the project and, understand the extension. But at the time that, we were approving the project, there was a parcel in there that, that y'all own, that we were thinking that maybe let's say a Grand X grocery was potentially thought about going in there. Now, one of the things that we're concerned about, particularly on Temple Parkway, is businesses. Now, if Grand X grocery may not be going in there, do y'all do anything as far as a strip mall or something? Because there's enough room or something in there. Do y'all have any plans for that?
Several years ago, we rezoned 26 of the 32 or 3 acres. We have a 6.8 acre parcel that lined up with the median opening and everything, so an interior parcel right there, I call it a donut hole. And we left that with high density commercial, so that it would be for that purpose, and then we did the multifamily around it. We have laid out several. Brand X seems to be tied to Joe. We're looking at several others. We've laid out multi-purpose commercial uses there. And the Klotz is a property owner that solicits and gets involved in many different endeavors, and so they are looking actively to find the right entity that wants a 6.8. Normally, if I was doing a 50,000 square foot Brand X box with some retail, that's a 12 acre project. So we're really looking at, on a 6.8 acre, we're looking at something more Mercado type. That, you know, a shop, a food store that might not be as big. Just to pick a name, and I don't know it all. Aldi builds smaller food stores, so that might be a potential. I don't know, but I can tell you they're the pros from Dover, and that's what they're looking at actively.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because that's important. It's important to the citizens. We're seeing a lot of housing, and that, like, you know, everybody would like to have single family housing. We don't have the land for that, for the amount of people that we need there. Also, in this same company, didn't we do something last meeting or 2 meetings ago?
Well, the other engineers in the same office come in. Yes, I understand that they acquired the 18 acres adjacent to it, which was a hodgepodge of 3 different zonings and an antenna farm for a radio station and remnants of a lot of stuff, and a big ditch going through it. I understand that. Yes, it is the same company. They're investing. They have their home office is in Jacksonville. They invest a lot in that Atlantic coast area, Central Florida, Southeast Georgia, and they've reached over here and they're wanting to build and develop in this area. So they build a high quality. I recommend you go to their website and you'll see a lot of their product. So they're a good player in town. So yes, they're continuing to see if they can't spread out. I saw the turn lanes on the Parkway when I came in, partially done. So progress is being made for this commercial corridor.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you. Anybody in the audience want to comment on the Delta Road extension? Not seeing anybody. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Motion to approve the extension for development order, Tyndall Town Center Parkway, 918 North Tyndall Parkway.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 4. CEI War Park Community Center Task Force. City Manager.
Okay, we've got the bid package ready to go out for the rehabilitation of the community center in Gore Park. Of course, we originally solicited that we were not gonna do a CEI, we were gonna put it on staff, which would then be in the NTM. That would be the project managers and oversee the construction. We're just asking the commission to consider using the project engineer for the CEI on the project, just because this building was actually built by, we're not gonna say it's not up to code, but it was built by many years ago by commissioners, and we're not sure what we're gonna get into when we start getting into that building. And to be honest with you, without a CEI, to oversee, you know, you're being 10 out there watching, make sure they doing stuff up to code and everything. Not saying that would happen, just saying it's gonna take an absorbent amount of staff time for us to be out there and monitor this. We're just bringing it back. We do have $300,000 budgeted for this project, and so we're requesting CEI for just under $15,000 to help us out with the project.
The engineers for this was Panhandle, that was $13,000 for the engineers. I haven't seen any drawings, anything, I don't know what they've come up with, but, so, actually,
Ashley, just send the specs out, please.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
I thought we already executed this a while back.
No, this is
that was just for the engineer.
engineering.
And just so everybody know, basically, the kitchen area is still in the same area. The bathrooms, we're redoing the bathrooms so that they're ADA compliant, and we're putting a storage room down there for our storage area. Knocking off the side of that building where there was an add-on made with wood, keeping the same outside shell, the roof, be putting hurricane windows in for visibility, and then redoing the outside of the buildings.
Will
Is the
we
general plan.
upgrade the kitchen area and
Yes.
all?
We're getting rid of the bar and all that other stuff. We're just putting it back against the wall so we have the larger space there to work with. And I'll make sure the specs get out to you for you to look at it.
Any more comments?
Well, I have a lot of comments about this. Of course, you know, we have discussed this over and over again. I think you got staff, you got plans. It's not a big project. I don't know why we have to hire a CEI to oversee a contractor. You've got staff in that department that know quite a lot. I don't see, why we're going, again, having to hire a CEI to oversee such a small project. I don't agree with it.
Like I said, we're just bringing this back up one more time for consideration. If y'all choose for us to do it, we'll be more than happy.
Well, we keep
It's
on.
not gonna slow down the process. We're gonna
Right.
continue on.
We keep on talking about this, and you keep on bringing it to us over and over to see if it's gonna stick. And I don't, you know, again, we're spending money that we don't need, in my mind, that we don't need to be spending. It's not a big project, it's just 4 walls.
I thought this was, I mean, pardon me if I believe this was only the second time we brought it. We brought it the first time with the engineering, and then we took it out, so we're just gonna bring it up one more time. And like I said, staff will handle it, should y'all decide to.
Well, normally, I guess I'm having a little difficulty with, it's not a big building. We paid for engineering on it, which is supposed to be, you know, covering all these details that we may be concerned about. Why wouldn't the engineer, do the follow-up of the CEI potential portion? Now, of course, they
We took
agreed to
that
do it
portion out.
for another 14,000.
Well, that portion was taken out by the commission when we originally wanted to do it. We asked for engineering and CEI. The commission removed the CEI. And, Panhandle actually showed up here and negotiated a price down, was it 13,000? Around 13,000. And so he only did the engineering plans. So we have a set of plans and we have nothing else. So we're gonna put these plans out for bid. And then somebody's gonna come in and go to work, and we'll have staff watching the construction and oversight. And I'm telling you, we'll do it, it's perfectly fine, we'll be more than happy to do it.
Are we afraid the building's not sound? Is that, you're kind of.
I think the structure of the building is perfectly fine, but at the same time, you know, we're bidding out for a contractor to come in. I mean, there's a lot of potential unknowns in the building anytime you do a retro on a building of that size.
I was thinking maybe we need to get it inspected prior to construction. And then after construction, of course, it will be inspected.
Well, I don't know what pre-inspection would really
Could you
give us,
tell
because
us
the
what-
engineering's already done.
Well, if
They
they
went out,
come-
the engineers went out and they inspected the building.
Yeah.
Best
If they come
could.
out and say it's unsound, then we don't wanna proceed with these plans.
The building is sound,
Okay.
that's not an issue.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, we wouldn't have that
That
open
was
up
the
to the public if it
implication.
wasn't, we just put the roofs on it.
Okay.
It's a good building, we're just trying to update that building for that
Which
part.
needs to be done.
But we'll do it. Like I said, I'm just bringing it up one more time.
Well, I just think that you're saying that we're gonna hire someone to do the job and they can't read plans. It's as simple as that, you know,
That's not what I'm saying, but I.
but that's what you're implying. That we're gonna hire a contractor to do this job, and we can't trust that contractor to do such a, you know, full wall, that we have to hire an engineer or a CI to oversee the contractor.
Are we, but I can't understand, you got the engineers or the architect,
Right.
you know, whatever you wanna call them.
They're done.
Gave the plans,
Yeah.
looked over the building, this is what needs to be done, these are things that need to be, remodeled and get in conformance with various issues, so that's all in the plans.
Right.
So, if something comes up differently than what is in the plans, isn't that the responsibility of the contractor that's doing it?
Mhm. Yes.
So is, what you're saying is that we're gonna be monitoring it, we're not engineers, but we're gonna be monitoring it. What is this, potentially a catch us if you can situation on the contractor?
I don't know, I just wanna make sure I bring this to y'all's attention. You can call it a safeguard for staff, that we brought it up. We'll do our best to make sure that everything's done properly.
Did we not hire a building maintenance person that has electrical and all that stuff background a couple of years back? And we still have that person on staff? Did we not hire that person
Tim?
that works in leisure services? He used to be the old code enforcement, and where did that position go? It's on the books, where did that go? Who's doing that job?
Didn't he quit that?
He's talking like Jamie's position,
We have people like.
but he's not.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we hired a person to do electrical, all that stuff,
No, that person is no, I know who you're talking about, that person is no longer with us.
no longer with us, but that
We have-
position is still there. The body,
We have a maintenance person for the city.
right,
They're not electrical and all that other stuff certified, they're just general maintenance people. You know, yeah, Richard, that's it.
when the position was created, they were gonna do all that. Many years ago, when we discussed it.
When we do this project, we're gonna be pulling a permit on it, is that correct?
Yes,
So you'd be pulling,
we're going,
No,
we are
the
going to make sure every
Contractor's
contractor
gonna pull the permit.
Contractor will permit.
so you're gonna have multiple permits, so EPCI is gonna be
Thank you.
doing the inspection.
Right.
on there.
Like I said, I'm perfectly fine with doing that.
Well, I'm glad you are, 'cause it's not
That's good. Like I said, this is a CYA move on staff's part.
well, no, the CIA is gonna be with, EPCI.
Right,
Yeah,
Every step of the process has to be approved by them.
by then, exactly. And that doesn't cost us anything.
Just give the CEI, and we'll put it out for bid.
okay, that's what we'll do.
Do you wanna withdraw your?
No, I don't, I want you to vote it down. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all, I'm telling you, this does not hurt my feelings. I told you staff is more than happy to accept responsibility.
And we're
expecting if we vote it down, we're also accepting some responsibility.
Biggest hunk of the money's already been done in the roof system, correct? It was done after the hurricane.
Yeah, we removed it.
Any other comments up here? Anybody in the audience want to comment? Not seeing anyone. Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion that we accept the CI door for our community center.
This is one of those reverse deals.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have,
I second it.
so then the motion and second is that we approve the CPR.
Right.
So a no vote will do what everybody's talking about.
Correct.
Right.
Well, then I guess we say, all in favor, say aye.
I don't know if anybody wants to speak on this.
I asked, nobody wanted to.
Nobody?
Okay. All opposed, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it's. Congratulations.
God did not hurt my feelings.
Okay,
Well, ETCI is on the hook now.
Trust me, I was prepared for a no vote.
So were we.
Okay, we're going to agenda item number 5, birth of purchase change order number 2, city manager.
All right, in light of things that have been going on with Bertha Bridge, we wanted to go ahead and get this change order to you immediately. This change order represents both the pedestrian railing that y'all approved a couple of weeks ago, and also an overrun of concrete that's gonna be needed for a shortage that's gonna occur on the approach slabs. Basically, whenever they were going through and doing their calculations, they realized that what was in the bid that was prepared by the engineer, the bid amounts that they quoted on was less than what was gonna be needed. The CEI, which is the CEI that certifies and double checks everything, they came through, they agreed that the shortage was there, and so there's going to be an overrun of 66,776, which is 61.5 cubic yards of concrete, more than what was in the bid specs. And so we went ahead and added the pedestrian railing. Also, we have an underrun on some bridge structures, which will actually reduce the cost overall of $3,562. So overall, this change order is going to be in addition to the contract for $84,170.12.
This should be the final. So if we know,
As far as we know. They've actually went through and they've been double checking quantities to make sure that there's not gonna be more.
okay, good. Anybody have any questions?
It's basically a shortage on the bid specs.
City manager, I'd like to know how, when they designed this, how they missed approximately 8 loads or 8 truckloads of concrete. I can understand a little bit, but you're talking about 61 cubic yards of concrete. I don't quite understand why we're paying these engineers and CEI and all that stuff, and then we turn around and we just go ahead. Obviously, we don't have a choice, but I just don't understand it. You know, we keep on having these cost overruns. How can they do their job and they underestimated by 61 cubic yards? It's about 8 to 10 concrete truckloads. That is a lot of concrete.
Yeah, were they even bad plan? I got a job right now where they file a suit against the architect.
I know.
He has $1 million liability policy on every job, just about in the state of Florida.
We keep on
He gave
extending.
them faulty plans and faulty information to bid the job. We should be going up from that.
That's what I'm saying, is just that we keep on spending tax dollars to fix what the engineers should have done to stuff. I know the contract says estimate, but this is beyond an estimate, 61 cubic yards. That is a lot of concrete. I can understand maybe 4 or 5, but 61? I quite don't understand it. And 2 is where are the funds coming from? I know what the answer is, but I wanna know.
Mr. Schultz, have that? cent.
Anybody else?
I'd like to table this, and I'd like to have the engineer in front of us next meeting.
Even though we're tabling this item, did anybody want to comment on it? We'll be talking about it at our next meeting. We'll go on to agenda item.
We're tabling this, but I think a fair question would be, is this gonna set us back another 2 weeks, or what's
Yeah, will this
the
delay
situation?
anything?
I mean, they can't build a bridge without the concrete.
Well, they're not even
That's,
close to using
that's,
that
that's
concrete.
where we're at, so.
They're not even close to using that concrete. I've been down, I go down there every day.
The rebar was tied in today
Yeah.
on the south side. The north side, compaction has been complete. They're getting ready to dig the 3 channels, put in the struts that go across, then they'll form it up, and then we'll tie rebar on the north end. Once the concrete's in and it's set, they'll remove the forms, and then they will start on, basically the road beds on both sides. After the road beds are put in, which that is relatively quick, that's just basically, a lot of substrate rock compaction. And then they'll be ready to pave. After they pave, they'll stripe and put it in. At the same time, they're also tying in the concrete bridge walls that go on each side of the road itself. Of course, the railing, we'll keep that closed as that railing's being done until that railing comes in and it'll be installed.
Do they have the rods in on the other side?
They had to achieve compaction first. Once they got compaction and got it to grade, then they will come in and dig the channels for the rods, install the rods. When those rods are installed, then they'll put the rebar on the south side. I can't build a building, but I can build a bridge.
Well, I table this item, so I think we need to discuss it in 2 weeks.
Well, but it won't be 2 weeks, that's what I was gonna say, it's gonna be about a month. Because our next meeting would be 3 weeks, and then that's when we can't use the building, so we'll have to push it, so we're looking at about a month. If that.
We can still have the engineer show up, but either way, I can't tell you, y'all already know that they've pushed it out. I wouldn't give that contractor an excuse to
Well,
say,
that's, do we?
well, I can't, we can't finish till we have it, we're not gonna do it till we get this, and then we're pushing it out ourselves.
Do we need to have a special meeting to discuss this, to get the
Well,
engineer to come?
we're getting ready to spend another $84,000, and obviously, the bridge needs to be done. But when are we gonna hold these engineers accountable for what they do?
Yeah, 20,000 of that is for the railing.
Yeah.
But still, it's $64,000.
Yes, sir.
When are we gonna hold these people responsible? We never have, we didn't hold them responsible for Gold Park. I'll talk about fencing later on during commissioner comments. But I'm just thinking is that when are we gonna, do we have a legal obligation to go after the contractor? Ask me.
We're not an obligation to do it, but we
We
can
go
go
say, hey, you,
agree with the engineer and see how that's a, it may be, those are fine for the bridge, but what we needed extra, or the contract should, I don't know what the facts are,
The facts are there was a miscalculation of the concrete.
that's their problem.
really it.
They miscalculated. And we're paying for their miscalculation.
Well, if it wasn't miscalculated, we'd still be paying the same amount.
Yeah, that's it.
This is, the change order is for actuals, it's not for anything extra, there's no additional labor, this is just for concrete.
Well, the
If it
reason,
had been right, it would have been in the contract start.
reason I was bringing this up, and if we're tabling it, which we're tabling it, but, they, per your last meeting, are saying that the roadway could potentially be open November the 11th, that particular week, sometime during that week. Now,
That date keeps
if
on
we
changing.
don't approve the concrete, the roadway's not gonna be, that's the reason I'm asking about the delay.
Yeah, this, and this change order is with the construction company, it has nothing to do with the engineer.
I'm not interested in engineer, I'm interested in concrete. I'm interested in the road going, finally get it going.
Yeah, I mean, first off, understand, I don't represent any one of these entities, but I can only tell you, if, we're gonna have to pay it, no matter what. I get it. Somebody made a mistake somewhere, but I gotta build a bridge.
Right.
And if I stop now, I don't know, y'all can decide if y'all wanna stop now or you don't wanna approve it, I don't know what the answer is. It'll be up to the construction company to see what they can do, which would probably be, they would just wait. I mean, once again, I can get people in here to talk about it, but I think the issue is that there was a number wrong on the bid documents, it was underestimated. Okay? Had it been right, it would have been in the contract, and that number would have been already in the contract. Instead, the number was wrong, so it was wrong there. Either way, we were gonna pay this. It's not like we're adding something that wasn't supposed to be there.
Right, so what would be gaining in a special meeting, and what would we be gaining, when we come back, if we came back in 2 to 3 weeks at a regular meeting?
That's y'all's decision.
Well, whatever my decision is, I want that road, I want that bridge open.
That's gonna be a Kevin question now, cause it's been tabled.
Our rules are, you can automatically table something. Questions that, so,
It was tabled.
unless you, yeah.
Well-
You can always get the engineer and set up a special meeting.
That's why I said a special
Shorten that
meeting.
Let's
so
go
we
ahead
don't
and
have
plan
to
on a
wait
special
month.
meeting to get this
Well,
thing up.
Yeah.
My question to the attorney is that what legal, I understand it's, they underestimated, we end up paying for it, but the cost of concrete today is a lot more if they had estimated it 2 years ago than it is now. Isn't that for sure? In other words, 2 years ago, if that estimate was in here, okay, it wouldn't be that high. That's what you're saying, right? If the concrete, if that amount of concrete was in here when they bid it, okay,
Well, I mean, they
they
did.
would have used the cost of concrete at that time, not 2 years later.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, I know.
yes.
I don't know what the cost of concrete was 2 years ago, but everything else was sky high.
I know,
2
that's what I'm
years ago.
saying.
Other things have come down.
So we're using the example that, well, we still gotta pay, and if they made a mistake, it would have been in here, we're gonna pay for it anyways.
So do you want me to find out if they're using the same cost of concrete that they did 2 years ago? I mean, that's gotta be the way it would be priced, because you're just changing a number. But it's gonna still be based on their bid price.
Yeah.
It's not based on, I got a new estimate, now it's so much more, no. The change order is based on the bid price. So if we need more, we're gonna get more, but we get it at the bid price. So it's not costing us any more now than it would back then.
We don't know that though.
I could almost put, dig it
I mean, I think really the question is, can we pursue the engineer for these damages?
Right.
Which is, I guess, a separate issue as
That's,
far as.
that's what I
Yeah,
want.
and we can, I can certainly get an engineering contract, research that, and report all that back to you at our next meeting, if you wanna undo your table. I mean, if it's gonna have to get approved anyway, like you're saying, it'd be a whole separate item.
$60
Maybe, what can we do to look at the engineer, can we prove any sort of damages, all that sort of stuff, and not have time to look at that.
That's what I want.
Okay, just wanna withdraw your table.
Like, yes.
I don't have any, I don't wanna be the one that's holding the bridge project up, cause it's already been way behind.
That's a whole separate issue.
And at the end of the day, I know we're gonna end up paying it, but my issue is that why, we're just laying back and say, okay, come on, bring it on, we'll just fork out the taxpayer dollars, and
Is there any way?
it's
that
our
we
due
can go
diligence.
after- Just say we approved it, can we, why can't we take a look at that? The engineer has a liability policy.
Thank you.
They take responsibility for their
That's
screw.
what the.
That's what we're saying, so, sort of undo the tabling, we'll have it at the next meeting, have a separate item where we can report back on
Right,
what liability, if any, is there, and damages against the engineer, and if Ashley can send me the signed engineering contract.
cause that's the only thing we could do, obviously the bridge's gotta be done, I understand that.
Right,
Okay,
we can do that.
so I'll withdraw my motion to table.
Thank you.
So
Now let's build a bridge.
So, would somebody like to make a motion on a change order? Well, I had asked if anybody wanted to speak and nobody did. Does anybody want to speak? I know, but we've untabled it now, and that's why I'm asking again, does anybody want to speak? Mr. Bohack.
Paul Bohack, 7010 Mike Lane. I have a question more than anything else. There's 22.6 cubic yards and 15 cubic yards of concrete, both of which were found to be useless. Could that be possibly part of the 61.5 cubic yards because it was replaced? They were unsuitable and yet they were in place. Could they be part of the 61.5 that had to be substituted?
They're asking for overrun, so overrun means that, you know.
I agree.
I don't know.
But I'm trying to figure out.
That's something that the contractor has to
because they
answer.
have been used in the same places where that 61.5 cubic yards was added.
I can only tell you, I'm not a bridge builder, okay, but I'm out there every day. They build each structure separately, and they all tie them together as they go through. As they go through, if the underruns occurred when they were pouring something, they didn't use as much as they thought. So that created an underrun, and that created a credit.
Yeah.
For this particular situation, the estimate was too low, and we need more. So that's why on here you see the credit for the underruns, which normally happens at the end of the contract. No one ever sees underruns. When we do a project that comes in under budget.
This was substandard concrete, is the way it's listed in this form.
3562.
Yeah.
And so my point is, if it's substandard concrete, then it had to be replaced. And
I
so-
see what you're saying.
Yes.
No, this is missing.
Pardon?
Quoting this in front of us, what I'm looking at is that they underestimated.
I agree,
Yeah.
but that I'm asking if that underestimate is partly due to, that's what I wanted to know.
I can tell you for sure, but no, it was not.
Okay.
This CEI is, I'm telling you, I've never dealt with a CEI as good as what we've got on the bridge right now. They're on top of it, on top of everything that's going on. So that's why, no, daily
Okay,
reports,
that's all
weekly
I
reports,
wanted
and I
to
send it
know.
to y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bohack. Anybody else want to comment? Okay, nobody else, so would someone like to make a motion? Or do we need to discuss tonight?
Motion to approve change order number 2, vertical bridge. Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. And we'll come back with another item at our next meeting about the engineer. So we've got a motion to approve the change order, so all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we'll go on to item number 6, contract for Beacon Point demolition. City manager?
Commissioner Pelletier asked some questions about, basically, which would be item number 7, which is an agreement that we're making with the developer for Beacon Point. But at the same time, we wanted to go ahead and let y'all look at, this is the contract that we're gonna have with the contractor for the demolition of the building. Our guys, they've already been out there, we gained access to it, they looked at it 100%. DEP's been notified, we're under a 10-day consent, we have to wait for them. Once all of that's done and we execute this contract, they can go ahead and we will start, we'll get the dumpster schedule. That's the biggest thing, is getting our dumpster schedule. We're gonna be bringing in fencing to fence the area off for safety reasons. And then, of course, we'll start the demo. So this is just a contract for the demo.
Anybody have a question?
I have quite a few.
Okay, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, city attorney.
not that have one, in three, the very end of 3B, that last phrase shouldn't be there where it says open field except for vegetation. Earlier in there, we talked about all that remains is a concrete slab. That's correct. So at the very bottom, there should just be a period after off-site facility. And take out the rest of that sentence, because it won't, I mean, it's already parking lot slab anyway. There's no, we're not clearing it down to vegetation, we're just gonna leave this concrete slab.
Correct, we're just going down,
Yeah.
not
That's
vegetation.
what it says earlier, that was one thing I noticed.
What did you have, Commissioner?
Well, I was gonna ask the attorney in that second paragraph, whereas we start talking about the grant, I'm trying to figure out where's the money coming from for the demo, and how's the city gonna get reimbursed? Because this is all legal.
Yeah, so this is basically treated like our normal, say we had a code enforcement nuisance abatement case.
Right.
And maybe there's some sort of dispute about it, and, whether we have the right to, so this is a more of a voluntary nuisance, a voluntary demo or clean and lean.
Right.
Now, obviously, when we keep track, on any demo, we keep track of all of our invoices, or if it's in-house labor, if we have to rent equipment,
Force account labor.
all that sort of stuff, like Bonnie would keep all that stuff and send us a total, and we would send it to that owner, and if they don't pay it, we would put a lien on it. So we have all of our assessment lien rights in here. My understanding, the developer's just gonna pay it out of pocket. They're not gonna take it out of their match, they're gonna, for the other deal, they're gonna pay it out of pocket, and if they don't, we'll have a lien on this property.
This demo is actually separate completely from.
Completely separate, yeah.
From the grant.
So we'll treat it just like a clean and lean, we'll do it, come up with a total invoice, send it to them. If they don't pay, we'll have a lien on their property.
Shouldn't that have been part of this?
But we're entitled to assess the entire cost, present, future of the demo against the property, and it can be a lien against the property, as number 6.
Okay.
Anything else?
I just wanted to comment that we asked them to clean up under the Goodwill building, the people that are going to contract this whole thing. They did a great job. They've already cleaned out from underneath, and I'm really impressed. So it's only been 2 weeks.
Anybody else have anything?
I just want to make one comment for the record, so people understand, this is for the art parcel only, has nothing to do with the north side of that building or anything else on this property. It has to do with that piece of property that's right on Highway 98.
The old little city.
No, Little Caesar and the liquor store used to be. So, for those of you that think that we're fixing the whole thing, the only thing that's happening is that art parcel.
Did you have something, Commissioner Davis?
What's that?
Did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I'm just saying, people have, in their packet, exhibit A is showing what we're demoing in yellow.
Anybody else have anything? Did anybody in the audience want to comment on the demo agreement for Beacon Point?
Karen Custer, 216 Landy Road Drive. I just had a question. The city, I guess, is going to do the demo, and there should be about $10,000 worth of materials that are recovered, steel and things like that. Who gets that money?
Any salvage goes back, the city, it goes back into the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
And we don't have that much, but we'll be tracking it on a project like this.
Not seeing anybody else? Gentlemen, would someone like to make a motion on the demo agreement?
Motion to approve the contract for Beacon Point demolition.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll go on to item number 7, contract for Beacon Point matching funds, city manager.
This is actually for the contract for the grant for the rebuild of this project. It's not a requirement that we have a contract with them. It's all basically covered in the grant. But the grant is very vague on how the money's handled, so we wanted to go into a detailed agreement with them on how the monies would be handled. That would make our finance director happy, so that everything could be tracked and be done very good. But all of their money is used first. Their money goes into account, it will be used first. And so this is just a way for it's more of a safeguard. I mean,
And gives us the right to access the property.
That's correct.
It's private property.
Yeah, so, that being said, I wanted to show this to y'all now. Right now, this has been under review by the state for, Kevin, how long?
I think Felicity, we sent it to Felicity in July, I'm sure she turned it around.
This is how long it's been at the state level, waiting for approval from the state. I contacted the state, and Felicity contacted the state last week, and we let them know that we will not start any construction on this project until they approve this contract.
We had like a similar type deal with Hugh Thomas North.
Yes.
And got it signed and all that. Then the state comes back a month later saying change this, and this.
Yes.
And I think I know the developers already signed or ready to sign it.
Yes, this has all been vetted by both parties, everybody's been vetted.
City Attorney, I guess I can ask the question. In the grant application, wasn't there requirements of them pledging those funds and turning those funds over? I haven't, it's been years since I've seen that.
Yeah, and I think when I've looked in the actual, it's like 60 pages.
I guess.
And I thought it was in the actual grant agreement, and I didn't find it in there. So
There's
that's
nothing
why
in the grant agreement.
That's where, I thought it was in the grant agreement itself, and maybe we need to ask Felicity, I don't see it in there. The grant agreement itself is just, the
That's
city's getting
actually what
1.288.
sparked this conversation.
Yeah, and so that's why
We wanted everything.
have this
detailed
separate
out so
agreement
that
to
we
lay out,
were
you're
covered
putting your
how
one
the money
in.
handled.
Right. You know, so under this agreement, which they've already, I think they signed today, and I'm just gonna get approved by the state. Under this, they're agreeing to put it in 1.1, should get used first. Then we start tapping into the 1.288 grant.
So I wanna make sure I understand, after this is signed by all parties, it goes to the state. Once it's approved, that money's gonna be deposited in our bank.
Not our bank.
An escrow bank, an escrow account.
So, yes, there'll be a bank with.
Escrow account that we have access
Proof
to.
of funds and.
Yeah.
Mr. Schultz saying no. Can you,
Mr. Schultz?
can you come up and explain how this is gonna work? I wanna understand it. It's gonna go in escrow account, the bills are going where?
It's not going in that.
That's how we originally drafted it.
That's
back
the way
in
it's
July.
drafted here, that's the way I see
They
it.
will retain the funds as we pay, just like we do for any other grant money. We will turn the invoices over to them. They will be required to pay us back immediately as those funds. For the CDBG grant funds, just like the housing grant, we usually get the money back within 2 weeks of spending it. So we submit that in, we'll submit the invoices and proof of payment. The city must pay for them to get it run through the grant, and then they will reimburse us.
I'm not
They're
talking
paying
about
us
grant
the
money, I'm
1.1.
talking about their money.
It's going to work the same as the grant money. We will pay it, we will send the invoices to the contractor, they will reimburse the city. The 1.1 has to be used before we can draw the money down from the grant. It all still has to run through the city's books, we have to account for all of that funds.
That's not what this agreement says, right?
Right, was there another, the revision floated around us? This is one we drafted back in July.
This is not what
That
I
was gonna be escrow.
I'm not reading that, and two is that,
That's not.
now we're gonna be a collector for a project that again, we're hoping that they're gonna pay us, okay?
They have to show proof of funds and show that the money is there before we start.
Yeah, I understand that, they have to show proof, but what happens if they don't pay, city attorney?
We shut the project down.
You terminate the agreement, they don't get the property.
Their money gets spent first.
And then, how long do they have to pay that invoice? Money's coming out of our account, and I think you need to kind of look at all of this and.
I did change it.
Yeah, but that's not what we have in front of us this evening.
I see that.
We sent the revisions out by email, what day?
We're spending his money goes first.
I know, what's in your packet is prior to the
His
revision.
money, we get reimbursed immediately for that funds. So as soon as we pay the bills, the city has to pay for that. It has to run through the city. That's the way these grants work. It runs through the city. When we pay the bill,
I will submit the proof of payment to the contractor, and they will pay me back. So the money's in and out. And that's the way all CDBG grants work. The housing grants, all of these grants work the
That's
same.
CBDG grant, but this is not a grant,
This is part of that grant, and it has to work the same way. So we will spend the money first, and then he will give us back the 1.1 in increments, not once the whole thing is spent. He has to reimburse us as we're spending the money.
As it's spent.
Once the 1.1 is done, the city will continue to spend, we'll submit reimbursement to the state through the grant portal, and they will reimburse us.
Well, I don't have the current one in front of me, so can we table this and bring it back?
Want a copy of it?
No. I don't have time to read it. I read this one.
I think the only change was in that paragraph.
And what's the change in the paragraph?
That where I had originally drafted back in July that they would escrow with the city, they got changed to where they will provide proof of funds from a local bank and have to pay, get reimbursed and paid immediately. It's not pulling up on email.
When we say immediately, what's immediately?
Which paragraph was changed, by the way?
It's under,
Let's see here. Do you have the new one?
That's a copy.
Paragraph 2. So, yeah, originally it said they would deposit 1.1 million with the city and we hold it in escrow. Now it says they will provide the city with proof of funds through a locally operating banking institution in a form acceptable to the city as evidence of their ability to contribute the 1.1 to be used against the city, used by the city as matching funds. As expenses are incurred, the company agrees to immediately pay such portion of its contribution to the city or its contractors or vendors upon receipt of an invoice. So as soon as we send an invoice, it's due.
what do you consider immediate to? We're taking our funds, paying that bill, which we're going interest
I
on.
didn't want to, immediate, it's immediate. I didn't want to give them 10 days or 30 days. We didn't want a lag time.
No, I'm not saying that, but what do we consider immediate? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
I don't think David would consider 30 days or 60 days immediate. He's gonna want it within the week.
I present the invoice, I'm gonna want payment.
And they'll have proof that the money is sitting in their regions account. So we'll know it's there. And that was the only change.
I know city manager emailed us, but I assume that.
And I got the email this afternoon, but I think you saved it some bit.
Again, I assumed that it was gonna be in this book. That's why we have the stuff in front of us that we're voting, not on the phone.
As I understood the email, this replaced what was in the book. So that's why I printed it out and compared it to see the difference.
Just paragraph 2.
Did you want to table this? Commissioner, you wanted to table it?
We'll just move on with it, it's not gonna matter at the end of the day.
Well, but you want to just table it,
No.
talk about it?
No.
Did anybody in the audience want to comment on the meeting point matching funds agreement? Yes, ma'am.
Anna Pelletier, 7724 Shadow Bay Drive. When this was initially brought in front of the commission in 2021, our city manager said that property owner was pledging $4 million, 100% of his $4 million to this project. What happened to that? And that's in the minutes, so that's on record, that he said $4 million.
That was, some of the original conversations were talked about some insurance proceeds that were inaccurate, but this grant only reflected, the state gave us, and we followed the grant rules. But this grant is just for, we got the most we could get.
Anybody else?
Karen Custer, 216 Laney Road Drive. I just have a point of order. When someone says they want to table a motion, you have to stop talking, and there should be a second, and then there's no discussion, and you don't vote on it. You just do it. So twice tonight I've seen you keep talking and keep talking and keep talking after someone asked to table it. And I suggested you go back and review whatever you use, Robert's Rules of Order, and start doing things properly, because that is not what you're doing. Thank you.
I don't believe there was a second for either table.
No, it was not.
When we table this,
We don't require it from Callaway.
No, we don't require a second.
Yeah.
So
You don't
you would have to
observe
withdraw. That's right.
So you don't observe Robert's Rules or standard rules of order?
No, we do.
Okay, well then,
I didn't know, I was just saying there was no second to either motion.
Mr. Lahake, did you like to say something?
Yes, ma'am. Please. Paul Bohack, 7010 Mike Lane. I have just a simple question. Does the city have any involvement in construction on the Beacon project? No. Since it does not, then I would suggest that there be some consideration for rewording the first sentence in paragraph section 4, property access, because as it's written, it implies the city may have some responsibility for construction. I'll read it to confirm my point. It says, to allow the city to demolish damaged structures on the property and construct and restore. I don't think that's what you intended as written. So you may want to rewrite that sentence.
When we bid it out, we're bidding out the construction. It's gonna be
Pardon?
contract. When we bid this out, it's gonna be bidding out the construction. And
This says this, to allow the city is what he's pointing out.
Right, well, through our contractors.
Yeah. But that,
Yeah, they're not hiring the contractor, we are.
The city will be the ones that will go into the we will be the ones that go into contract.
Yes, the city will be hiring the contractor. not-
Well, my point is, I think you want to change that sentence. Somebody needs to.
Well, we are gonna be doing the construction.
Thank you.
That may, is we're
Through the
raising.
contractor.
Yeah, that's the same thing, for agents and contractors.
I'm with you.
Anybody else want to speak?
We're doing the same thing I did on the bridge. Every day.
I just wanna pass out some comments, generally, this $1 million, the money that's being mentioned is not insurance money for y'all's information. Insurance money has been all gone for quite some time, according to the property owner. Two is that, for those of you that think that once this op parcel is done, that we're gonna fix the entire project, whatever money's left is gonna go to the north side, that's an eyesore right now, but all of it, so the rest of it, that project is about, I believe, if I remember right, he told us about $8 million. So this Beacon Point thing is gonna go on for years before it's completed. So for those of you out there that are thinking that this is gonna fix Beacon Point, it's not going to. I would imagine hopefully maybe before my term is up, next 4 years, that it'll be done. But he's talking about bigger project and the money that they have to spend to bring up the rest of that property. I would imagine that they're not gonna do that until they can recover some of that rent money that they're gonna get in the front parcel. And whatever is left, hopefully there'll be enough money to bring that north side up a little bit, to bring some more money in. But I don't see this project moving, according to what I can gather from talking to him, anytime soon, as far as the rest of it.
Anybody else have any comment? No, would someone like to make a motion?
Motion we accept contract for Beacon Point matching funds.
Second.
And we've got a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. We go on to our add-on item, Laura's contract extension for grant disaster recovery, city manager.
Basically, Doris is our administrative grant consultant on, it's 3 grant projects, 3 grant 4 projects. Beacon Point, the lift stations, Hugh Thomas, and Sandy Creek. And of course, we know Hugh Thomas and Sandy Creek are actually combined under one grant through the state. They're our grant consultant, they do everything with the grant, and our contract with them is technically up. We are getting ready to put out for bid our grant administration services. It's time to put it back out again. So Ashley's been working on that, as we're trying to make sure we get the verbiage and the language right. But they need to go ahead and continue this project until the end. So this is actually a no-cost 1-year time extension for them to finish the projects that they're on.
Any questions?
And they're paid through the grants for the administrative part.
Any question for city manager? Anybody in the audience want to comment on the grants, the extension?
Right, 216 Landing Road. On wording on the now therefore, part A, since the period of completion of task order hereby extended for either 365 days from the date of this addendum or until services provided under this task order have been completed. Well, that just eliminated the 1-year timeline. It says till completed. So it could be 5 years.
Well, I think it's 1 year, or if they finish early, Kevin, is that the way it's reads?
Right, but that's not the way.
Or is this?
No,
or is this gonna be-
the intent is,
Yeah, I mean,
the master agreement has expired, they've got 3 pending task orders. The intent is to let them finish the three task orders.
Right, but the way this is written, they can
If it takes longer than a year.
5 years without
Could be.
another extension.
Could be, yeah.
It should be written to say, or sooner. Yeah, 365 days or sooner.
Well, I guess it really comes down to, do you want to come back in a year and ask to do it another year? This, you know.
The intent is just to get them to finish these 3 task orders. The hard walk, I think.
But the intent was a 1 year, but Kevin, I'm sorry, I missed that. I didn't realize you put that extra verbiage in there.
I didn't, but it.
Oh,
They're,
that's right.
they're
That's
in
right.
house council look at it. No, the intent is, finish these 3 task orders. So if it takes longer than a year, then so be it. Like I said, we can cap it at a year and come back and do this all over again.
So I guess my verbiage on the summary is basically false leading, when I said 1 year. So let's change it to say, till the project's completed.
So those task orders, those 3 task
Till
orders.
those
Or
3
until the
task orders
project
are
complete, don't come back and,
Yeah, and then
because you
we'll have a whole
already
new
said.
master agreement. So,
Well, your verbiage is not the same, so we accept the same that's on the actual contract.
correct.
Does anybody else in the audience want to comment? Okay. So is that what, do we want to just change our motion to go with the language in the agreement? Is that what we're?
well, we could just
Or you gonna,
approve the agreement as written, you know.
Very good.
or is there gonna be any changes?
No.
Okay.
So would somebody like to make that motion?
Motion that grass contract extension for grant disaster recovery vehicle.
Okay, we've got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to extend the contract until the projects are completed. So, all in favor, if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries, and that brings us to the end of our agenda. So we'll go on to commission and staff comments. I don't have very much, I just wanted to let everybody know, we did the fun day last Thursday, and I know you missed it.
I did.
You missed it.
I'm sorry.
But Commissioner Pelletier, Commissioner Griggs, and myself had a lot of fun with the kids. They had a good time.
Don't forget your sister.
My sister.
Your sister was here.
Yes, my sister.
In charge of the popcorn.
Yep, she was fixing the popcorn. I was handing out the popcorn, and these 2 guys handed out the drinks. But the kids had a good time. The teachers seemed to enjoy it. So it was a lot of fun, maybe we'll do it again someday. But I want to give a special thanks to Coke, they came through and brought us product. And the kids really enjoyed that because they've been coming up and saying, I need a drink, you have anything to drink? And at that time we didn't, so we appreciated when Coke got there with drinks. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, our next meeting would normally be November the 12th. That's gonna be the time when the Walnut Hills is gonna be here and we're not allowed to really be doing anything else. We had talked about it, but I don't think we had actually moved the date of the meeting. We had talked about moving it till the next week when planning board would normally meet. And seeing if planning board could not meet or make an adjustment. I mean, we just need to figure out, because that'll be our next meeting, so I wanted to be able to announce when the next meeting would be.
We don't know if the planning board's gonna have a meeting, do you know, Bill?
Not that far out.
I mean, we can just, unless it's not a necessary meeting for them.
We just moved to 5. Planning board meetings are never an hour long.
That's true, we could move the planning board to 5 and we could meet at 6
We could do
on the 19th.
Yeah.
So is that okay with everybody, we just meet on the 19th so they can be putting up the wall and not have us here in the way. That's all I had. So we'll start with Commissioner Ayers tonight.
I apologize for missing that. I was looking forward to that, for somehow I forgot to put it on my calendar. So I've had it on my calendar 3 different times.
I know.
I attended the Bay County Commission meeting last week. Had several things that dealt with Callaway, but I'm sure the city manager understands what those were. Met several times with the city manager over the last couple of weeks to discuss the different projects, and actually visited all the projects at least twice. So we are keeping track of everything closely. I assisted one of our veterans with a disability with his application, and it was successful. He was finally recognized for 100% disability. That's a big deal. I did mention earlier that Beacon Point, Patrick did jump on the cleanup over there, and very impressive, and please thank him, city manager, for doing that and to continue the cleanup. Callaway Point streets are looking great. Bill, thanks very much. The patches are nice. I got compliments about the patches. They're nice and smooth. You're driving over. The leaks are gone, and the sidewalk is in. That was, and so everybody's really happy. So thank you very much for jumping on all that. That's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Pelletier.
Just a few. I'd like I know the Christmas party, city manager, I guess you're gonna have a Christmas party and you're gonna cater it, correct?
For the employees,
For the employees, yeah.
we actually have not really started planning that. That's normally what we do, yes.
If you do, I would like for you to consider using a restaurant here in Callaway, using our Callaway dollars for restaurants here in Callaway. I don't know what kind of food you do, but we've got, I think last year we had barbecue. We have a barbecue place in Callaway. We have a chicken place in Callaway. I just think that we should be using our Callaway dollars in Callaway and support our businesses in Callaway. The fencing that's being installed, I don't know if you've been to Go Park, but the fencing out here, I don't know who's doing the work, but I think they need to find a level. All the fencing going out of here, up and down, Go Park. Somebody is doing this job, they don't know what they're doing. The fencing,
I'm trying to figure out War Park.
not Go Park,
This one right here.
not Go Park, but, Brittany Woods.
Brittany Woods.
Yeah,
Yeah, now, Brittany Woods, that, you gotta remember, that's a dog park, and so the fences have to be level with the ground.
Yeah, I've never seen a,
Tim, you wanna get up and speak on some of this?
I think our guys could have done a 10 times better job than what's being done and what we're paying a contractor. When you look at this fencing going out here, these people don't know what a level is. I mean, it goes up and down, and I hope they don't do Veteran Parks that way, that they use the line and square it off.
They were a lot more expensive than the other one too, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, we're paying a contractor and we're getting, I won't say what kind of job we're getting here at this meeting, but somebody needs to look at that.
I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah.
We are looking at it, they're not finished.
Well, how are they gonna fix this? It's in concrete already out here.
This one out here is gonna be a problem for them.
Yeah, no, it is a problem. It looks like crap. You know, it looks like we gotta, a fly-by-night, go in there and put that fencing in.
I think he's referring to the high spot in the vinyl fence.
Yeah. But normally.
That was actually where they were trying to do it level, and we were like, no.
Why would
Because
we
of the
not
lay of
want
the
to?
land. We had some high spots and some, the lay of the land. But,
Yeah, the way they pulled this thing was not.
They didn't pull the string.
Well, they used the eyeball.
Yeah.
The ground slopes as you go towards 22, the ground slopes downhill some, and they went with a level line and of course, they came in on the weekend and did a lot of that work, and so it was already set.
Well, I hope Veterans Park's gonna be looking a lot better since we got our wall there.
Yeah, and they are straightening some things out at Britain Woods. Yeah. A lot of it.
And how about the paving there? Have we done anything with, who's gonna pay for that? Fixing the paving?
fixing one thing.
The parking lot?
Yeah, well, I mean, so we are not done with it. We still gotta get our concrete and we're looking at doing some of that in-house. We're gonna put a ribbon curb around that asphalt. We're doing that.
Yeah, but it was patched in.
Yeah.
Why was it patched? Like it was somebody,
I mean, I thought we explained this at the last meeting, but we can do it again. There was a request for information.
right?
We sent them a drawing.
Okay.
Bottom of that drawing, it had a different scale than what we had on the bid contracts.
Who did that?
Who did what?
The drawing.
I don't remember where the drawing came from.
So you're saying that we have to live with that small section that's been over, that looks like, again.
Well, so what we decided we would do is we were going to seal that, so it'll all have the same color, the same look. We're gonna seal it, and then we're gonna have, we still have to stripe it. And then we'll be adding, the concrete blocks, what do you call those? The bumpers, yeah. And then we're putting a ribbon on it.
I've requested the quotes for striping it.
Yeah.
Doing bumpers from 5 different companies so far. I haven't heard back from them.
Have we made any progress on solid waste going out for bids?
No, sir.
Do we know if we're gonna get it done this year?
We're gonna try.
I guess, engine 2 is out again. I appreciate getting that email. I think it's been out more than we've used it. Is that right, Chief?
I'd have to check the records.
Yeah.
But, the guys are upset, we're upset about it too, so.
City manager, do you know when the warranty expires on that engine 2?
Chief?
They have a 5-year on that motor, and they're.
That's the motor, but the motor's not the problem.
Yes, it is. It's
This
the
time it's the motor?
It's the ECM. It's all lumped into the motor there, so. In talking with RD of their Definiac, he's gonna ask Pierce to go and extend it. Warranty.
On the motor, but not the electronics.
I'll follow up on that, give it to us.
Right. Okay.
That's it. Thank you, Commissioner Briggs.
Striping on the roads.
Boat race is going out for bid. And, I can check with Martin in the morning and find out, because they agreed, you know, to restripe all the intersections on 22, Star, Bertha. They were gonna do some fixing of those intersections. Some of the approaches that were, you know, there were some holes where people were falling in. When you turn, when you're going south on, or when you're going east on 22, and you turn on Bertha, there's that hole that always develops. They told me they were going to be fixing all those areas and getting all those restriped. Bob Little, that Bob Little was gonna be restriped, and Bertha and Star.
Okay, what about this of course involves the county land, it's not in the city, but the corner of Kimbrell and Highway 22, which was gonna be a massive apartment complex. What's the story on that, if you know?
I actually checked on that last week. I talked to the engineer of record. I called to find out, you know, what was going on, and he could not give me anything. He said they had supplied everything to him. They had not heard anything back.
Well, the sign did for a year or so said sold, and now it says for sale again.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I'm asking for it.
I have no idea. That's all the information I got was from the engineer they had before. He said he supplied them with all the plans. You know, we put in there, and they agreed they were gonna redo that intersection. They're put in turning lanes and fix the drainage, but I don't know if they backed out of the project or what. Of course, that is on county land, so.
Where do we stand, mentioning Kimbrell, where do we stand on North Kimbrell tying into Parkway?
We are going to we need to look at the infrastructure being water and sewer first.
Right.
And that's gonna come after the modeling study. Because they're gonna model all that area, so we can estimate what we're probably gonna need up there. And then it's just gonna be a matter of cost.
Okay, can I ask City Manager, since you mentioned, boat race, I'm pretty sure either the last meeting before, you said we were going out for bids. Are we having a problem getting the bids out?
I don't, actually, where are we at on that one?
I'm waiting on the last thing from the state, but working on as many bids as
So
I got
we're not
right
going
now.
out for
I am
bids,
a
we're still-
little bit-
I thought we were ready on that one.
I'd have to look on that one. I don't, there's so many that I have to look through and see where each one is each step. But I can let you know first thing in the morning.
If you can let me know, please, because we've been told it's going out for bids, but it's not ready to go out for bids if we don't have approval from the state, correct?
Correct.
I thought we had completed everything
I
that
just-
they required.
Let me look in the morning to be sure it's on that one. 'Cause I
We-
know
we
we're
need to
doing that
complete
one
that.
in
We need to figure out-
legislative
I would like to have a correct and update versus you come in here and you tell us every week that this is done, but then 2 weeks later you tell us it's done again, we're doing it again, but yet now I find out that we're not even close to going out for bids. Because the state hasn't approved it.
Okay, I'd like to point out something that is, it's actually very important to Callaway, even though Callaway is not the operator. But the transit system, which is Bayway, which brings in multi-trips, but multi-thousands, because not everybody has a vehicle and all this, so anyway, Bayway is the transit system for Bay County. And it was recently, at the Florida Public Transportation Association meeting, that Bayway was awarded as the most outstanding public transportation system in Florida. Of all the transportation systems, whether you want to talk about Miami or the rest of them, Bayway was deemed the best, and there were actually 5 awards being issued along with that. So, very honestly, the mayor could probably speak a little bit more on this, because actually, once again, we're a part of some of these things, and the mayor is the chairman of the oversight committee involved with our transit system in Bay County, Bayway. So we're pretty proud of that organization. So,
And they won like 5 or 6 awards at this last conference. We'll get an update at our TPA meeting in December. They're gonna tell us all about them.
right. But, the outstanding website, sustained campaign event, special events. And if you may recall that, we had a couple of operators that spotted some kids, children, infants or whatever, walking, and they actually took care of those. And they definitely received an award and recognition for doing that. Stop the bus and take care of the kids walking unattended. So we're proud of it. That's all I got.
Commissioner Davis?
Checking on, Bob already asked a couple of them, same thing. One, if y'all can check, I think that Hampton thing actually fell through because 2 weeks ago they were working. And then last weekend, they came and loaded every stick of equipment up and cleaned that job site and left.
Yeah, I saw that. Everything's gone.
I mean, they came there like gangbusters and cleared the site, so that tells me either the payment didn't go through, or the whole job just completely dropped through, so, man, we'll check into that. That property may be for sale.
Keep on this.
3 or 4 years ago, I think we approved, how many City of Callaway signs did we approve back then?
We talked about 2, we only got 1.
We got one. One?
We only paid for one, okay, I thought we had multiple.
No, the first sign was damaged.
Yeah, I remember the car.
Yeah.
And then we were gonna take that one, he was gonna fix it.
It was unfixable. It was not recoverable. They actually took most of the stuff off of it to put on the other one.
Yes.
Weren't we talking about once the project of the median going into Parker, weren't we talking about they trying to put a sign down on
Yeah, we
right-hand
looked
someplace?
at that, but, it was not really favorable because it was gonna end up being a joint venture between us and
Yeah.
Parker. Parker would have to pay for theirs, and, I mean, we can still do it if we're,
Yeah, we could maybe do a modified version or something. What else?
Just one other thing, I know Bob talked about, but this fire truck every other quarter breaks down. I mean, at what point do we seek a limit law? I mean,
You can't.
I mean, it's
I don't know about fire truck. I doubt that the chief signed
down too much.
I don't know
Exactly to them.
That's for consumers.
Consumers, yeah, not commercial. We're stuck with it.
This thing we need to really monitor because it's becoming a regular thing. We get shipped off. And the last, that was it. Or talk about the other. You may have on your thing, the medians. We're on that. That's all I got.
Mayor, I just got one quick one I need to pass on, and Commissioner hit on it. On, Highway 22, there's no sign for Seneca. It's missing. I don't know. I keep on thinking about it, and I keep on forgetting to mention it. There's no sign there at all. I don't know where my bar.
No stop signs or no?
No, street signs.
Bill? Right.
That is,
Yeah, he just mentioned signs that they could.
okay. Okay, City Clerk, you have anything for us tonight? City Attorney? Okay, City Manager, you're up.
We've already talked about Beacon Point. I think we beat the bridge up to death, so, I know they got the forms in on the south side, and rebar was going down. The street department actually started on the cemetery drainage project today. Got a lot done, they're doing great. We're going down the back of the cemetery, just so everyone will know, all of that vegetation and stuff is coming out. Because we're gonna have to create a swell, meaning it's gonna be a light swell, so we can use zero turns in it and everything else to keep it maintained. But Bill has got an easement or an agreement with the trailer park behind it. So all of that's coming out, gonna create the swell, and then we'll be putting a wood fence along the back to, for aesthetic purposes. And the people that own the trailer park they're good with it. So that's going on. Dog park is being constructed right now. Tim has been working adamantly on all of that. And we had to do a scope amendment on Hugh Thomas and Sandy Creek. On the Hugh Thomas, the state kept coming back. They had been just beating us half to death on all of that. We went through, we did scope amendment, we changed some stuff up. The state likes it. That agreement actually came out today, and so that will be, we went through it today. We found an issue with it. We had to send it back to the state. They have to make all contract changes, and the mayor should have that up tomorrow for you to sign.
Okay.
And then that will just basically put us where we'll be ready to start the bid process on Hugh Thomas. Sandy Creek, they're finalizing the bid specs on making sure each one of those lift stations are, Sandy Creek that one's fine. There's nothing that's changed on that one. We got everything done for the median. It's just right now, we're developing the bid specs. I mean, we're putting a lot on Ashley right now, and she's doing a great job, but she's also having to go back and forth with the grant administrators and the state and everything else, and so.
I noticed on them plans, they strip a boatload of trees, very few trees, and then mostly shrubbery.
Where?
On that, this side, not as many trees as we did.
Trees 150 feet apart.
The plan, it's not as dense as what you're gonna see up in our area. We wanna make sure we can maintain it. We're still gonna have grasses, we're still gonna have trees, but the trees are much farther apart.
Speaking of tree, while you're on that subject, I saw DOT out there where they're building a hotel next to McDonald's. You know, they wanted to put that turning lane in there, and it's got those massive oak trees there. Have you heard anything about that, or they still wanna try to snatch some trees out there, or they wanna?
I don't know anything about it. That'd be a really tight turn lane.
Well, I went back there, looked at the old plans online, and that shows those trees coming out and put the turn lane there.
Okay. Bill, do you know anything about it?
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, okay. So, yeah, it's gonna happen.
State highway.
Anyone need some trees?
Not that much.
They're too big to transport.
Yeah, they're gonna take out the only good viable trees we have on there. They're gonna be gone. And also, Commissioner Pelletier, I did verify that on the quantities for the concrete, the quantities went up, the bid price did not change. It had to stay at the same price. So it's just a 100% quantity increase on that, on the concrete.
Thank you.
Cherry Street, all the entities are re-looking at their plans right now to make sure that everything's right, so that when they push them all together, we have one concise set. I know if you've seen, down Cherry Street the last couple of days, there's been a lot of flashing yellow lights. That's our guys going back and re-verifying our plans also. I know they did come out and double check where the new poles are coming in. AT&T's got those, and so they can make arrangements to modify their plans to get that done. Other than that, we're working on bids.
To cover everything anybody wondered about?
Just, can we, the bridge, as far as November the 11th,
be talking about that,
Meeting,
Dave.
that's- Silence.
Did you say something?
He's just gonna change.
Did you say something?
Hopefully by our next meeting, it'll be open, since our next meeting's not till November 19th.
Look,
Okay.
you know, we have these progress meetings, y'all get the notes on those every week, that we have a progress meeting. We'll have another progress meeting this week. They have not said that it's gonna extend out. You want a personal opinion, I'll give you a personal opinion.
Everything is helpful, it's all guesswork.
They ain't meeting that deadline.
Yeah, I know that.
They're not gonna meet that deadline, there's no way. If I had to really put it out there, I would say December 1.
If we're lucky.
No, I think I put a little money on December 1. You may want to put a 1 week, 2 week on it, let me know.
Well, by the same token, what about, with everything involved with Cherry Street, what, I mean, 2025 or 2026?
Cherry Street's not gonna happen this year. There's no way.
Tico is our sticking point.
Are they working as well
Yes,
as you know?
yes, they're coming. Probably,
What is that?
they're going to request an agreement with the city that basically says this is it's a one shot. Anything after that, you know, if we come up and they find something and they have to modify their plans or anything changes, then they're gonna wanna negotiate, having to redo what they've already done. As a standard contract that they don't know, Kevin, I agree to that.
I would hope the CI is in that meeting and everybody involved is talking about that, you know, so we don't come back and say, well, CI missed it, so the city's gotta pay for it. Or engineer, or whoever.
I'm sure that'll happen.
I would think that, Mayor, we should have a ribbon cutting one of these days on
Well,
Berkeley
I'm
Ridge.
gonna have well, yeah, we should have a grand opening.
We'll have a ribbon cutting when we start Cherry Street.
Well, we're gonna have a groundbreaking.
Well, that ain't gonna happen this year.
Shovels already got rust on them.
We need to do something with it.
We're still trying to basically on Cherry Street, we're trying to phase it. Meaning we're starting our concentration at Star Avenue and we're trying to modify those plans first. And then once we can get those rolling, then they can keep modifying as they go on down. That's actually the way AT&T's been approaching it from the start.
AT&T's done at that end.
And I've tried to re-verify with that PO, they're not putting any more poles up. I know there's poles everywhere. When we walk out and we see new poles, it's like, wow.
I think also, city manager, we probably should put something on our website, or maybe a mayor on the newsletter. I got an email today about, we got some markers out here, what's happening? Of course, we know it's Florida Power, I'm pretty sure, could assume, because Florida Power is going through all of our neighborhoods, correct?
Yes.
And, so, I don't know if the rest of the public, is listening, a lot of them don't, I don't know if we put it on the website, put it out there knowing that, look, Florida Power is coming into your neighborhood, they're gonna be digging, and these markers are out there for Florida Power. So I have to assume, I don't know if we try to put information out to our citizens, or just end with when they email us or call us.
We can request some information from that PO too.
Right. I think we should get some info out to the rest of the citizens, because this is gonna go on for the next year, maybe two, I don't know how long it's gonna take for them to do what they're doing.
To be honest with you, I don't think they even know what they're doing. They got so many multiple crews working everywhere.
I know, we got so many holes everywhere.
We're chasing breaks and line breaks every day, and by the time we get to them, we don't even know which contractor it is that are. We just chase them. Mr. Fry's about to pull his head out, well, that's the Thomas now.
Anything else? Okay, we good? Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. Yes, ma'am?
Hannah Pelletier, 7724 Shadow Bay Drive. I'm working this week with some Callaway citizens, and not personally, just a job. And my name tag has my name, my first and last name. Of course, they asked me, are you related to Bob? And I'm like, yeah, he's my husband. I've had 3 citizens ask me this week, can you please ask him to do a tree giveaway for Callaway? They say, if Mexico Beach can do it and Lynn Haven can do it, why can't Callaway do a tree giveaway? So, I'm asking for a tree giveaway.
I have tried to look into it before, and it's very costly, is the biggest problem. Because you can't find anybody that wants to donate trees for us to give away. But we can work on it some more and see.
Can I ask you
Sure.
a question? Thank you. I mean, if we're not gonna pay $15,000 to the CEI for Core Park, why couldn't we use that money?
Well,
And I'm not being facetious, it's just, you know, there was.
I think, city manager, you have some figures on what Lynn Haven spent?
That was so
You told
long
me
ago.
some-
I was so long, I don't remember what the figures were.
I know they, they
that-
bought 100 trees, and when they were gone, correct?
I don't even.
100, 120.
I talked to
How many trees
Nikki,
would go?
I talked to Nikki and asked her, hey, how did this happen? And she said, no, we had to buy all those trees.
Yeah, right.
And give them away. I said, okay. I mean, I could call her back and
Yeah.
get some information if you like.
Yeah.
Y'all wanna purchase trees?
Just please find out and let me know.
I personally don't wanna purchase any trees. I mean, if we can get donations, okay.
Yeah, that's,
But that's not very good for the citizens,
well, especially if you can only buy 100,
yeah,
you're just gonna make a lot of people mad,
right?
cause they won't, you know. If you got 15,000 or 18,000 people and you have 100 trees. But we'll see what we can do. Anybody else want to comment on anything? Nobody?
Forestry's getting rid of
Well,
seedlings.
we will go ahead and read the announcements then. And there was an error here, but the planning board meeting, November 5th, I'm assuming, do you plan on having a meeting on November 5th?
Bill?
Does it look like you'll have a planning board? No meeting on November 5th. But y'all remember, November 5th is election day, so if you don't vote early, make sure you vote. And then our next commission meeting, as we just talked about, will be November 19th. So we won't have a meeting for about a month, so it will be November 19th here at 6 p.m. But before that, remember, we'll have our Veterans Day event out here on November 11th at the sports complex. And then starting on the 12th, the Wall That Heals will be going up, so I think that opens on November 13th through the 17th, so make sure y'all come to Veterans Day, and then come out and see the wall. I think that covers everything, so, we need a motion to adjourn.